Yeah, just before we start, I just want to sort of acknowledge the fact that we got together at the start of the game for a very important issue, and that's violence against women. And I think it's a strong initiative from the AFL, and it just simply has to stop. And if we can do something to try and shine a light on it, I think that's terrific.
Adam gave us an insight into how the Giants have dealt with that in the lead up to the game. Can you let us know? Obviously, the community around here has also been touched by what happened in Bondi recently too. So how did you approach it?
No, it's just obviously Don Pike is very close to our footy club as far as, we worked with him for a long time, good friends with him, and I think it was a great initiative from him, and the AFL jumped on board. It's just, we've spoken enough about this as a community, and it just needs to stop now, and we support it very strongly, clearly, and hopefully things change.
As far as the game, John, you must be pretty happy. Slowish start, but thereafter you guys were really strong.
Yeah, it was a hard, tough game. It was two pretty good teams playing reasonable footy, and it was just a hard, tough game. And just probably there was a couple of things that stood out. Just that you've got to be doing everything right for a long time, and we were able to do that, and we're able to keep going with that, and that's easier said than done. The ability to be able to keep persisting at it and keep persisting and keep working. I thought we handled the conditions pretty well. The players were able to adjust at different times according to tricky conditions. That sometimes it was wet, sometimes it sort of dried up a bit, and the adjustments they made were really good. But they kept the basis of the contest, and the pressure was enormous from both teams. And so when you've got such high pressure games, there's not much in it, and you just need to keep persisting. And it was a bit of a game of inches and a bit of territory game, which certainly helped us in the second quarter.
How important is it to, win the clearance battle against a team that's renowned for it? It's not always seen as a strength for the Swans.
No, it's been certainly better this year, and we've been able to do that, to get the ball a bit more forward, but. It's a critical area. Tom Green going off is a big loss for them. He's been such an important player for the Giants, and he's such big strong body in those conditions. But which is they would have been disappointed in. But we were really pleased with our midfield's battle. It was a tough battle against an A-grade quality unit in the opposition. So we're able to push it forward, and weight of numbers, I think, was important.
Obviously, a big incident in the second quarter was that Callum Brown, Tom McCartan collision. Firstly, how is Tom, and I guess what did you make of it?
Yeah, look, I spoke to him. He's okay. He's just over in our training facility at the moment. But look, he's okay. It was disappointing. What do you want me to say?
In terms of how the defence stood up there, obviously Dane came back and I think he had some 15 intercept possessions. Lewis and continues his really strong performance in the season. To do that against what's the best attack in the competition must have been a real big tick from your perspective. Yeah, they played well. It was it's not easy. They're, as you say, they're really talented and got some weapons all over the place up there. And we tried to get some dirty balls, so they put the pressure on up the ground, which maybe helped a little bit. But our shape was important, and our defenders were. Played that part of the game really well. They got the balance right between the contest, but also the shape. Sometimes you can get worried about one and forget the other, but the balance of getting both at the right time was more often done than not, and that was important.
John, can you talk us through the not picking Luke Parker for this match? Was that fitness-based, or was it just hard to find room in a team that's going so well at the moment?
It was a couple of things. He's obviously missed 9 weeks. And he's played one game back in the VFL, and he's been a champion for us clearly, and has had a great record against the Giants, but hasn't missed 9 weeks in the lead up to any of those performances. So you've got to take that into consideration. The game's unforgiving at senior level now. It's it's a tough, hard game, and I want to give Luke a good opportunity when he comes in to play well, and rather than just playing 1 week and coming in off the back of that. So. We want to make sure that's that he's, when he comes in, he's in good touch, good confident touch, ready to go, and sometimes you have to make those decisions. The coach clearly wanted to play, which is understandable. the guys have been going quite well, so that makes, you sort of weigh all that up and you make a decision. And I'm sure he'll be back in soon. It's just we'd like him to get some more footy under his belt and hopefully give him the best chance to play well.
Reflection of it, probably just a good situation to have, I guess, with your squad and the health of it and the performances of who's in.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what you want rather than the alternative as a coach, no doubt.
Yeah, obviously it's not. I'm certainly aware of it with Luke. It's not. He wants to come in and play, but he understands. But from a team perspective, you need to have players in there playing well, and they've been pretty good, and playing pretty well. So from that perspective, it's good. We've got some 6-day breaks coming up. Travel, a couple of boys, a couple of knocks. We'll have to see how that goes. See how the VFL goes afterwards, and make a decision before we get to Perth next week.
Luke missed the chance to add to his collection of Brett Kirk medals, but Errol Goulden's made it back-to-back, I think. It seems those conditions suit him. His kicking seems to stay the same standard even when it's wet.
Yeah, probably tried to bite off a couple early, but he fixed that up. But he's a good player. There was an even midfield group. They were pretty even, I think. That was probably the thing that stood out. It was pretty even midfield group. And we obviously had Dane at one end and Will at the other, and those guys. But I think everyone played a pretty consistent game. It was pretty even, I would have thought, as far as good players. So we had a fair few, I think, that played pretty consistent level.
And Will was able to kick 4 goals in different ways on a day where it was obviously tricky for the forwards.
Yeah, he was, and so he's a threat in the air, but also a threat in the ground. He applies enormous pressure on. He chases out so well, and when the ball hits the deck, hopefully he makes the opposition a little bit nervous, and he gets after him. He's got great speed, so and he's been able to hit the scoreboard this year, which is good. He's different times he's played closer to goal as well, which is I think suited him and us, and so that's been good. And today, we needed that when you go. Essentially, it was a ground position game at different times. You needed to get the ball forward, and you needed someone to be able to stand up and kick some goals.
There's obviously been a lot of talk about Will's future, but I guess today's performance shows sort of how unique player he is. He's obviously not the tall down there, but he can almost play as a tall up front as well.
Yeah, he does. I mean, that's the chat's the chat. But we highly value him. And we think he's a very good player, and he's really popular amongst his teammates. But he can play a couple of different roles. He can get up the ground and use his run and his discipline. He's very good at that, playing a role, and then he can play a bit deeper as well, so he's got some flex.
What did you make of Brody's performance? It felt like he was dominating the hit-outs for most of the game, but Kieran Briggs kind of was strong early, and then Brody kind of managed to turn that match.
Yeah, I thought after quarter time, it's probably a fair observation that Kieran Briggs was pretty good in that first term and gave a couple of free kicks away, and I think Coxie and Brady had a chat about it at quarter time. I think they made some good adjustments to be able to, from then on, make some adjustments to what they were doing, and I thought he was good. He was able to contribute. We sort of talked about the 3 talls going in and the weather, with Joel and Hayden and Logan, but we wanted to make sure we kept a couple of talls to be able to rotate with Brody, so we kept him fresh at ground level. So we didn't want, if it was a wet game, strangely enough, you need some talls still, because it would have meant that we could have kept Brody a bit fresher, and rather than working him into the ground, we could have had some rotation. So that was also part of the theory behind it.
And in those wet games, I guess contested ball's so important. I think Isaac finished with another 18 contested possessions. I mean, how, in terms of his work around the stoppages in particular, does he just keep finding another level each week, do you think?
He's been pretty consistent at a high level. So I don't know whether it's another level. He just keeps playing at a good level, a really good level. And he's just, I've said it before, he's a hard runner, but he's tough. He's hard. He's genuinely hard. And, in those clinches, you've got to be hard and strong against a team that we enormously respect as regards to their ability to be able to win the hard footy. So, he needed to play well again today, as we do every week, but he's able to do that. He's a pro and he's tough.
On Lewis Melican, just a hit, but he obviously was able to play half the game.
Yeah, it was obviously important for him to come back on, and once we lost Tommy, and give us another key defender. We're a bit concerned about that for a little bit until he came back on and played. So I think he's okay, but once again, we'll have to get everything right in a short week.
And obviously, I guess it looks likely that Tom might miss a couple of weeks, or a week at least.
Well, he'll miss a week, yeah.
Yeah. Is that, I guess, extra concern after he missed that long stretch last year, or does that feed into the?
I'm not going to sort of, let's just wait and see what happens. It's disappointing to lose him. He's a very important player for us, but you'd expect him to miss this week, and we'll see what next week brings.
Just one more on the, I guess, the timing of the derby today. It's at 1:45. The conditions didn't really allow for the greatest spectacle, perhaps. But when you see something like the showdown on Thursday night in prime time, do you think that's something that the derby, Sydney derby, should be matched up with?
Actually, I want to just give a shout out to the crowd. What do we have? 41,000. I mean, whether you look at the time slot, but once again, the Sydney crowd's just getting right behind us, and the Swans, the faithful are turning up in droves. It's just amazing at the moment. And to see the people when we're walking across here before the game, and you just feel it, there's people everywhere. And, as someone that's spent a fair bit of time in Sydney, to see the wonderful support of the crowd and how they're jumping on board is just amazing. And to see 41,000 in the conditions where you could have made the decision to stay home or not, and so that to get them along to the game, I think was awesome. And that's probably the first thought I had after the game, was just what a wonderful crowd, and thank them for their support, because it was amazing.
Also an opportunity, though, to get more eyeballs of those that do choose to stay home. I guess it's later more.
Maybe. I think that I'll leave that to the AFL. I know from the club's perspective, we're thrilled with 41,000. Pretty hard to be disappointed with that. To get another sellout this year, it's just wonderful.
Beautiful. Thanks.
Thanks.